in which the last dangling threads of our story play out in the aftermath of Anna's death. Chapter 19. Leaving the nursery and finding himself alone, Levine at once remembered that thought in which there was something unclear. Instead of going to the drawing room, where voices could be heard, he stopped on the terrace and, leaning on the rail, began looking at the sky. It was already quite dark, and in the south, where he was looking, there were no clouds. The clouds stood on the opposite side. From there came flashes of lightning and the roll of distant thunder. Levine listened to the drops monotonously dripping from the lindens in the garden, and looked at the familiar triangle of stars and the branching Milky Way passing through it. At each flash of lightning, not only the Milky Way, but the bright stars also disappeared, but as soon as the lightning died out, they reappeared in the same places, as if thrown by some unerring hand. Well, what is it that disturbs me? Levine said to himself, feeling beforehand that the revolution of his doubts, though he did not know it yet, was already prepared in his soul. Yes, the one obvious, unquestionable manifestation of the deity is the laws of the good disclosed to the world by revelation, which I feel in myself, and by acknowledging which I do not so much unite myself as I am united, whether I will or no, with others in one community of believers which is called the Church. Well, but the Jews, the Mohammedans, the Confucians, the Buddhists, what are they? He asked himself the same question that had seemed dangerous to him. Can these hundreds of millions of people be deprived of the highest good, without which life has no meaning? He pondered, but at once corrected himself. What am I asking? He said to himself. I'm asking about the relation to the deity of all the various faiths of mankind. I'm asking about the general manifestation of God to the whole world with all these nebulae. What am I doing? To me personally, to my heart, unquestionable knowledge is revealed, inconceivable to reason, and I stubbornly want to express this knowledge by means of reason and words. Don't I know that the stars don't move? He asked himself, looking at a bright planet that had already changed its position over the topmost branch of a birch. Yet, looking at the movement of the stars, I cannot picture to myself the turning of the earth, and I'm right in saying that the stars move. And would the astronomers be able to understand or calculate anything if they took into account all the various complex movements of the earth? All their astonishing conclusions about the distances, weights, movements, and disturbances of the heavenly bodies are based solely on the visible movement of the luminaries around the fixed earth, on that very movement which is now before me, which has been that way for millions of people throughout the ages, and has been and will always be the same, and can always be verified. And just as the conclusions of astronomers that were not based on observations of the visible sky in relation to the same meridian and the same horizon would be idle and lame, so my conclusions would be idle and lame if they were not based on that understanding of the good, which always has been and will be the same for everyone, and which is revealed to me by Christianity and can always be verified in my soul. And I don't have the right or possibility of resolving the question of other beliefs and their attitude to the deity. Ah, you haven't gone, the voice of Kitty suddenly said. She was walking the same way towards the drawing room. What? Are you upset about something? She said, studying his face attentively by the light of the stars. But she would still have been unable to see his face if lightning, again hiding the stars, had not lit it up. By its light she made out his face, and, seeing that it was calm and joyful, she smiled at him. She understands, he thought. She knows what I'm thinking about. Shall I tell her or not? Yes, I'll tell her. But just as he was about to begin speaking, she also started to speak. Listen, Kostya, do me a favor, she said. Go to the corner room and see how they've arranged everything for Sergei Ivanovich. I'm embarrassed too. Did they put in the new washstand? Very well, I'll make sure, said Levine, getting up and kissing her. No, I won't tell her, he thought, as she walked on ahead of him. It's a secret that's necessary and important for me alone, and inexpressible in words. This new feeling hasn't changed me, hasn't made me happy or suddenly enlightened, as I dreamed, just like the feeling for my son. Nor was there any surprise, and faith or not faith, I don't know what it is, but this feeling has entered into me just as imperceptibly through suffering and has firmly lodged itself in my soul. I'll get angry in the same way with the coachman Ivan, argue in the same way, speak my mind inappropriately. There will be the same wall between my soul's holy of holies and other people, even my wife. I'll accuse her in the same way of my own fear and then regret it. I'll fail in the same way to understand with my reason why I pray, and yet I will pray. But my life now, my whole life, regardless of all that may happen to me, every minute of it, is not only not meaningless as it was before, but has the unquestionable meaning of the good which it is in my power to put into it. The end. If you enjoy this format, please leave a like and subscribe and return tomorrow for the next chapter.